Hello everyone, Basic Ollie here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I wanted to talk about the new updates that have recently arrived on iRacing. There are several new cars to talk about, one brand new circuit, and a lot of updates that kind of happened in the background that are actually on the notes that not many people may be aware of, and we're going to go through some of those as well. I won't go through absolutely everything, but I'm going to break down some of the important stuff, and we're going to be talking about the new cars and the new track that have come to the service, and just go through them really, and first impressions, first thoughts, and how they may affect the game, and if they're good or bad, essentially. So, yeah, let's crack on with the video, and let's have a look at the first car. I think we need to look at the GTPs, and why not start with this car right here. So let's start off with the Acura then. This has 667 brake horsepower. It's powered by a 2.4 litre twin-turbo V6. Looks-wise, it looks the business for sure. I love the way it looks. I love the lights on the rear. I just generally like the look of this thing. It looks futuristic. Doesn't look boring at all. Looks great in my opinion. It just, yeah, something about it. It really stands out from the crowd, I think. I don't know why, even though we've only got a small selection of GTPs, and they all do look good, but there's something about this one I think just stands out a little bit more. Might be the lights at the rear, and mind you, the lights on the rear of the Porsche are pretty damn good as well. But looks-wise, I think it looks great. Sound-wise, sounds really good as well. Doesn't sound great in neutral when you're revving it, but actually when you're going through the gears and when you're downshifting as well, and you can hear the turbo whistle as well, sounds absolutely awesome. So looks and sound wise, thumbs up from me straight away. Driving wise, this thing actually again feels pretty damn good. Turn-in felt really on point. If you boys and girls didn't know, they've made a few changes to the downforce with these GTP or LMDH cars, so don't really know how much effect they have on the cars at the moment. I don't know if it's more effect, like the car's less effective at high downforce tracks like Le Mans or something like Daytona, but overall it didn't feel too different, and the car here felt really nice. On turn-in it felt like it had absolutely tons of grip, and it would be one of those cars, I think, if you were to jump from an LMP2 into this car here, I think it would be difficult to go back to the LMP2 because this thing does feel absolutely awesome. Fuel-wise as well, I want to quickly shout out the fuel, and this seems pretty good. Pretty much the same as the Caddy and the Beamer. But we're gonna. There's a reason why I've mentioned the fuel, and it's probably a random thing for me to mention, but I did do a couple races that I could do yesterday before iRacing went down for about a couple of hours because they got the pricing wrong. Yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I want to talk to you about the fuel because the fuel is as it should be. But we're going to jump to the Porsche next, and you're going to see why I've made a point on the fuel. Next up then is the Porsche 963. This is a supercharged twin-turbo 4.6 litre V8 engine producing 670 brake horsepower. Looks-wise, again, looks very, very good. I have to say the rear tail light at the back of the car, where it's just one single red light, is pretty cool. Very Porsche-like, that I have to say. Very common on modern cars as well. It seems to be a thing where the brake light goes all the way across the back of the car. Sound-wise, it sounds good. I think it's one of those cars where it actually sounds good, but I'd say the Acura wins purely for the noise of the downshifts and the turbo whistle as well. So I would say, yeah, the Acura actually wins in that aspect in terms of sound. Driving feels good again. I feel it lacks a little bit again to the Acura. I just feel like the turn-in's not quite as sharp. It still feels pretty good, but I don't think the turn-in is quite as sharp. Now, I was mentioning about the fuel earlier, and I'm going to go into why I've mentioned the fuel now, okay? We're going to jump to my stream quickly, and as we cross the line at Le Mans for our first qualifying lap here, in the Acura, you're going to see my fuel usage is 7.20, and that is on a qualifying lap, a push lap, all right? Now we're going to jump to the Porsche to see what the fuel usage in the Porsche is, all right? And you're going to see a massive difference. So same thing again, this time we're in the Porsche. This is actually my second qualifying lap. I had to fuel save massively to make sure that I could actually not run out of fuel on my second lap. but I do regardless. So even though I only use 6.9 litres on my outlap with a huge amount of fuel saving, I'm going to cross the line, running out of fuel here, and my fuel usage is 7.42. Now, I imagine that probably would have been 7.5, if not higher, if I didn't run out of fuel at the 4 chicanes there at the end. So fuel usage-wise is absolutely massive, and I don't really know why. So that might have to be something they look into, because, yeah, that's a huge difference in fuel. And I think this car will just be picked for that sole reason alone, because if you can really use that amount of fuel less compared to the Porsche, then yeah, the Porsche is in big trouble. Moving on to the next car then. Now, this car I was not expecting. They kept this under wraps. No one was really expecting it at all, and that is the Ferrari 296 GT3. It replaces the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo. A welcome replacement in my eyes. It's a 600 brake horsepower, 2.9 litre V6 engine. Looks, I mean, just look at the thing. It's absolutely gorgeous in my eyes. Sounds great. Doesn't sound as good as I'd want it to, I don't think. But I think it sounds much better than the old Ferrari. I will say I think the old Ferrari did sound rather naff. Driving-wise, feels pretty good, but this is the GT3 challenged fixed setup, which I'll be honest with you is never great. It's never great. It always feels super understeery. So until there's a proper setup on that car, can't really say whether it's like a super good car to drive in terms of the handling. But even with the pretty horrendous fixed setup on that they give you in this thing, it still feels pretty good. So I think it's going to be a good car up there. Just be worried though, normally it seems to be on iRacing a little bit when the new cars come out, they seem to be a little bit OP, so it might be the go-to GT3 to look for in that. And fuel wise, I can't really compare it to the others because I've only raced it against other GT3s. But the Ferrari, definitely one to buy, I think, if you're into your GT3 stuff. If you're a little bit tight on cash, I think this is probably one of the ones to go for. This and maybe one of the GTPs, maybe go with the Acura. But yeah, not too much to say about the Ferrari. Looks good, sounds good, drives pretty well, even in the fixed setup, and should definitely be one of the go-to GT3s to drive because it'll be super easy to drive and it looks great. Next up on the list then, the last new car that I will be covering in today's video. I know there is a classic NASCAR car that's come out, but I don't know too much on that, so I won't be covering that personally. But yeah, last car we'll be covering today is a Super Formula that has come to iRacing. This was heavily leaked and lots of people saying that it wasn't actually real, but it turns out it was, and it has now been introduced to the service. It is powered by a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 with 570 brake horsepower and weighs just 600 kilos, so extremely light, plenty of brake horsepower, and yeah, plenty of downforce to go with it. Now, me personally, when it comes to this, I think it looks good, sounds great, but driving-wise, it's not for me. It's not for me personally. If you're into your Formula cars on iRacing, like the F4, F3, I think 3.5, the Formula 1 cars, then you'll definitely be interested in this car. But for me personally, I don't particularly like it. I don't like the way it feels out of slow corners. It's just very, very deadly, like I suppose all Formula cars are. But yeah, for me, this is just a little bit step too far for me personally. I'm not a massive fan of it. I think it's going to be one of those cars, you'll buy it like I did, you'll think it's great, but after a while you'll just probably get fed up with the official races because you'll get taken out too much, too many 4Xs. Yeah, it might be an IR and SR pit. And for those reasons, personally, it's not for me. But if you do love the Formula cars, I love the Formula 4 cars, but as soon as it gets to like Formula 3 or higher, I just think the standards aren't really there. And yeah, it just doesn't work for me personally. I don't think the racing will be particularly great. I think there'll be far too many incidents. So if there's one piece of content that I'd advise you avoid, which I don't really want, you know, it's probably harsh to say that. But if there's absolutely one thing that you don't have the money for, you need to avoid one thing, I would maybe say avoid this if you're not a fan of Formula cars, because it's cool to drive, but within like 20-30 minutes I lost interest. So but that's just me personally. That's my point of view. If you're not a fan of Formula cars, avoid it, but if you like the Formula cars, definitely give this a whirl. Alrighty then, on to the last piece of new content that we'll be talking about in this video, and that is this new track that iRacing have introduced, which is Circuit de Lédinon. I don't know if that's pronounced correctly. I do apologise if I've got that wrong, but yeah, brand new circuit to the service. It's located in France. It's 3.1 kilometers long, or just short of 2 miles, and I have to say, it's like a mini Portimao. It is like a mini roller coaster. It is a awesome little circuit. I have to say, I have to excuse my bad driving here because I've never even heard of the place. So I purchased it, gave it a test drive, was trying to learn the track, but look at the undulations. It's fantastic, I have to say. I really enjoyed it. Probably the LMDH is probably the wrong car for this circuit. It's probably a little bit too quick, but I think something like a Formula 4 would be good here. I think even GT3s would probably be good. Hard to overtake, maybe, but it's a great little track, I have to say. Big fan of it, and I love driving around it. I found myself just doing more laps after laps, you know, because I just want to keep improving my time and just learn the track, and actually, yeah, just because I just enjoyed it so much, I just kept wanting to do more laps. So that is, you know, a big thumbs up for me straight away if you load into a track you've never raced before, and all you want to do is get quicker at it because you're actually enjoying the time you're spending at the track. So yeah, this is an awesome track, but I don't know how much I can recommend it because I don't know if it's gonna die. All right, because Jerez is also a really good track. I very much enjoy that. But if you look at the participation levels for that circuit, it's not particularly high, and I don't think many people on the service have really heard of this circuit. So can I honestly say that it's going to be a popular track? I don't know. I think if you've got the money for it, if you've got some spare cash lying around, yeah, I would get this track, because when official races go here, it will be good fun. But you know, if you're a bit tight on cash and you don't want to, you know, you have to be selective with what you buy, maybe avoid this track. But if you can afford it, I would certainly go for it, because it is great fun, this track. And even though this is the only one road course, I think it's the only road course that they're actually adding to this to iRacing this update, or this season as such. It's a great little track, and yeah, I don't mind it at all. And yeah, great fun to drive, But now we've got the new cars and track out of the way, let's jump on to the little things that they have actually updated and improved that no one really seems to be talking about, but there are some really big ones that I haven't really mentioned too much. It's in the notes, but yeah, I'll go through them now. Well, my highlights anyways, the things that I really think will make a difference. And yeah, let's jump on board another car, another track, and we'll talk about them now. Alright then, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop back to the stream that I did yesterday, and we're going to have a look at the new audio options that iRacing have added to the service. Now, normally it's just a default sound that you hear from in the cockpit, but now they've added a few more sound options which are pretty mega, where you can have things like earmuffs, a full face helmet, half face helmet, and it gives you a new audio perspective. Like it changes the way the whole game sounds when you're driving the car. So we'll go through them now for you, each individual one. I'll play what I experienced on the stream for you, and you can see my live reaction to it, alright? But this is a pretty cool update. I think I'll still stick to default, but for anyone who wants that real immersive experience, this could definitely be something for you. Right, now I'm gonna so we know what it's like normally. We're going to go out now. I'm going to try it with earplugs. Ha! How cool is that? Amazing. Imagine it, if this is what it will be like, the actual racing drivers, this is what they can hear. I'm going to try earmuffs. They like. Wow. That is so quiet. Oh, that's so weird. That is so weird. So weird. This is so weird. Oh, I couldn't drive like this. I couldn't drive like this. Crazy. Okay, I couldn't personally drive with that. It's a cool thing, but I can drive that. Listen to the sound difference there. Right, next one. Open face helmet. I imagine this means it will be very loud. Sounds relatively normal. Can I cut across this? What happens if I try and cut across? Slow right down. Just slows right down. Doesn't really sound too different to normal, I don't think. Closed face helmet. Again, very, very much earmuffs. This sounds like just a earmuffs, just not as strong. Another thing to quickly note that's in the notes, no pun there, with the latest iRacing update is there has been some updates to the built-in crew chief. It now gives you the strength of field for your class, which is pretty damn cool. So no need for race labs or anything like that to tell you what the strength of field is. It finally tells you in-game by the crew chief. There's also a button that you can map to your steering wheel. When you press it, it gives you, well, what's supposed to happen, from what I could tell from the notes, is meant to tell you what damage you've got and the ETA on how long it would take to repair said damage. But it doesn't actually do that so far since I found the testing. It just tells you what the damage is, which is, you know, I mean, normally says you've got wheel damage and you already know straight away, so there's no need to press the button again. But what should be happening is, as far as I could tell from the notes, is that you press it and it should tell you what kind of damage you got and how long it would take to repair. It's also the same in an official race. Say if you got damage and you towed, it's supposed to give you an ETA of how long that damage will take to repair. So, yeah, that's very, very cool, but I haven't actually seen anything where that actually does work. So maybe it's just a bug, and maybe I've just misinterpreted it. But yeah, if you look at the notes, I think that's what it says. So yeah, bit surprised it doesn't work. But let's move on to what has been controversial on iRacing for as long as I remember, and that is the way that the grass and gravel affect your car in sim. Now, normally, if you try and brake on the grass or go anywhere near the grass, your car will immediately do some sort of 360 spin and scare their life out of you, and you'll end up getting a meatball. Same with the gravel, really. The gravel won't really spin you as such, but it would barely slow you down. But now it is the opposite. So if you go in any sort of gravel trap, it will slow you down very, very quickly, which I kind of like. I've got to say, it really does act like a gravel trap now, which is very, very cool. I don't know why it's taken so long, but I'm very, very glad the update is here now because, yeah, it makes a huge, huge difference. So we'll have a look at that in a moment, the gravel trap and the grass as well. Like I said, you can actually turn, brake and accelerate on the grass. Now, what you might find as well is that you can't accelerate on the grass as much. The gravel, certainly, you are basically stuck in first gear. You can't really go anywhere. But we'll have a quick look at those now. And let me know what you think, guys, in the comments of those updates as well. Let's have a quick look. I'm sure you can. I'm sure the curb noises and stuff have been turned up. Still with the car bottom. Still here at bottoming out. Let's just quickly try the... Oh, wow.
You got a penalty for cutting the cord.
That really slows you down. Ha! That really slows you down. Amazing. Ha! I feel like the whole, you know, the gravel, whatever, sand, whatever, should, you know, it's very obvious it should slow down anyways. It should be something that's been in there a while. But if I just go across it like this, see how much it slows down by? Not touching the brakes. See that?
You cut that corner, you got a slow down penalty.
So that now works. So the gravel traps slow you down. That is... I don't know what it's something with us iRacers, right? I swear that should have been something that was in the game a long, long time ago. Just, I suppose, like rain, really. But now we've finally got it. It's like mind-blowing, you know? If I'm in the gravel... Yeah, look, I can barely accelerate. Look. How about grass? I've only got... Well, I could turn in it. I know I've got my left wheel, but normally you wouldn't be able to do that, would you? And I can brake. I can brake and turn in it. I can brake and turn. I can brake and turn in the grass. Wow. Okay. I know that just seems really minuscule, but... I'm blown away by it, I've got to say. Right. What happens if I just go, oh no, I've gone wide. Yeah. Yeah, that is going to save so many crashes. That is going to save so many crashes. That is unbelievable. That is quite something. So what do you think then to all the updates on this season's build? Do you like them? Do you think there should have been more? Do you like the added crew chief options? Do you like the fact that you can check on your damage now? Or do you like the fact that the gravel and grass has been updated? Do you think it's too much? Do you think the gravel slowdown is far too powerful? Or do you think it's going to be exploited? Let me know in the comments. Grass, you know, I think could be one of those things that could be exploited. We'll have to wait and see. Not quite as strong as gravel. But yes, let me know what you think of all the updates. And if you did enjoy the video, please do hit that like button. Help your boy out. And maybe subscribe to the channel as well. But thank you very much for watching. I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-da.